at a certain yard, there was a certain individual on the yard. It was one of my people. He was an islander. Now, this certain person was doing drugs, but his family took care of him. There are a lot of people in there that their families don't know they're using. They just send them money because they think they're taking care of him. And this dude using all his money, so he in there snorting up. He's hallucinating. He's been up for like 3 weeks straight. So he's like thinking people were plotting on him. And all the people he thought of plotting on getting him, he thought I was trying to get him. So in his head, he was building that I was trying to get him. So he's in the cell making knives. Like, man, I'm gonna get this dude, right?
Crime Talk 369, prison stories on the line, New York rhythm in the spine. If you did it or you didn't, you gon' feel it in this rhyme.
You want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people how much time you got in?
What's going on with y'all, man? My name is Tongan Pac, man. I just did 19 years straight.
Ooh, wait, God damn, Hey, guess son, check your watch, because it's time to fight. Man, fuck that hickey. I'm trying to get up in that picky. You over there looking like some lucky horse? I come ride this horse.
California, man. I'm from Long Beach. 19 years for attempted murder, man. I took a deal, man. Um, 19 years straight to do something to you. I did a lot of, was involved in a lot of nonsense, so I had to turn it around, man. Doing time, you got to focus and level up. So within that time, I, refined myself, and here I am today, man. Grateful to be on this platform, man. I appreciate you for having me, brother.
No problem, man. So where'd you grow up at? Did you grow up there?
I grew up in Long Beach, man. I was born and raised in Long Beach, California, man. I had siblings. A couple of us grew up, man. We was around like situations early. We saw like a bunch of trauma that molded a lot of our choices growing up as a child, especially growing up in Long Beach, man. So we seen a lot of stuff, a lot of being a part of the streets. It was a lot of gang. It's a gang culture at the time, so you get involved or you ain't. So it was at the time it was more of a, growing up trying to figure yourself out and fit in and, try to be the best at what you're doing, even if it's the bad thing. So growing up in Long Beach was kind of like that. Yeah, I had both my parents in the house. Both my parents raised us. Father was a little bit abusive, alcoholic, used to be mad, taking a lot of his, anger out on whatever he was stressed out on the kids. Seeing those circumstances growing up, seeing alcohol abuse early, a bunch of the household was like look good on the outside, but it was all kind of crazy stuff going on the inside, like much like anybody else's household. But man, both my parents, my mother was the best, my father was a beast, he a businessman, entrepreneur, started his own business, came from the island and started his own tree service business, brought the family down in the 80s. And we kind of like first generation for my family, as my father coming down from the islands with my mother starting up here. So, we growing up for as islanders coming to America, just adapting our island ways into this American society and doing things the American way. So it's a lot of adjustment that we had to deal with growing up and learning. So I was grateful that I had my father because he kind of like came from the island, just hit the ground running, like I'm gonna start this business, let's get this going. So man, he did that, and a lot of other Tongans who came from the islands only work for themselves. They don't work for anybody else. They come with a bending mindset and feel like they can start something from a little ass island coming to America and feel like they can start something big. And some of them hit, some of them don't, but we here today because of their choices. But yeah, my parents did their best with me, man. The streets did the rest.
Do you think there was anybody that could have stopped you from hitting down the wrong road?
Man, I had so many good friends, like a bunch of, like, I was game banging early. So I started game banging about 14, 15 years old. Around this time, I was boxing. My father put me in boxing as a kid because he was like, I had an uncle that was boxing. In the islands, there are a lot of older Tongan dudes, they box for a regular sport, like how certain people play basketball. That's what they do over there. They fight. So you run into a lot of us growing up that be fighting all the time. And my dad was like, you guys want to fight, man? We're going to put you in here, teach you how to box. So I was actually boxing. I had a great teacher, man. I would have been great, bro. I was a Golden Glove boxer at 15. I lost one fight. And that kind of like messed everything up for me. Like even my trainers and my coaches kind of like the way I lost, because I was like tripping. I started gang banging in the ring, like, man, fuck this dude. This man, he can't see me outside. Like, I started doing some shit like that. It was like, bro, this is like, if you're trying to be this, then you got to do this. But I had so many people tell me that would have been my lane had I stuck to it. Boxing, I was good at that. So I had all the people in my ear, hey man, stop doing this, do this. Even in school, I was getting in trouble often. We were getting fights, get suspended, get kicked out. And the teachers, principals will always tell me like, man, individually you seem like a good kid, man. You're just doing a lot of crazy stuff for what? But they didn't understand what I was dealing with growing up at home, what I had to deal with. My father was kind of abusive, used to kick us out all the time, used to put his hands on us. Not like that, just beat us up, like that was the way islanders teach their kids. They teach you physically, like they're gonna beat the lesson into you. So my father used to think that was the way to teach you, and then if you didn't listen, you just was either dumb or you weren't paying attention. And most of the time their communication isn't the best. So you got to kind of like, it's like a riddle dealing with your people. You're like, I think he wants me to do, I might, and then you don't really know. So at the end of the day, it's like when you get older, you start understanding why they were telling you what to do after you made all your mistakes. But I think that's life. You got to go through all your hardships for you to understand it. Experience will always be the best teacher no matter what.
When you were gang banging, what gang was you a part of?
I was from the Tongan for life, Gangster Crip. It's a North Side Long Beach neighborhood, predominantly all Tongan. All my people. It's nothing but Tongans, but we got Samoans. It's a little bit of everything. It's just the name of the gang. Like there's a lot of Samoans in my neighborhood. There's a few blacks, Mexicans. Like it's a diverse kind of thing growing up. So the title of the hood was started by Tongans, Tongan for life. As we grew up in Long Beach, if you know Long Beach is a diverse city. You got Samoans, a lot of Samoans, more Samoans than Tongans. A lot of Samoans, a lot of Tongans. There's a lot of blacks, Mexicans. It's a lot of different races in Long Beach. So it's pretty much like a hub of everything. So you might run into dudes from neighborhoods that they might be Mexican from a black hood or a black from a Mexican hood. It's a common thing. A Samoan from a Tongan hood, a Tongan from a Samoan hood. And where I'm from, I don't know if you know the history behind Tongans and Samoans, but in America, a lot of Tongan hoods don't get along with Samoan neighborhoods in LA specifically based on stuff that's happened. Like it might be something from the past. I don't know if you know the history of Tongans and Samoans from the past, but
Tell us a brief history.
okay, so Tongans and Samoans we have the same history. We are the same people, but we came back in the islands. They had wars. A lot of islands didn't get along with each other. They would do business with each other. They would war against each other. A little bit of everything. Build. There's a lot of Tongans who went to Samoa, and a lot of Samoans who went to Tonga as well. They doing all this business on boats. Back then, and there certain islands they didn't get along with. They had conflict with, and sometimes that conflict might carry all the way down to America. And it'll be some old stuff. Only way I can compare it to is similar to the like black and white history. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it's the same level, but it's kind of like where it's there. Like there's still gonna be something there. You'd be like, okay, that's the past, but you can see that in America, like a lot of the Tongans and Samoans will still have that mindset of what they were taught with coming from the island, and then they would, teach it to the rest of the kids. And then you might come to America and you got Tongan kids who have their own gang and Samoan kids who have their own gang, and they coming from these backgrounds, so they might turn it into something else. And now it's a street thing. Somebody get killed, somebody went to prison, they cause all this stuff, but it's always been from something in the past. Like there's always got to be a starting point. It just turned into what it is now. So yeah, right now Tongans do their thing, Samoans do their thing, but everybody really we always trying to figure it out. We islanders come in joining American gangs and we doing it the way we doing it, but from my evaluation of how we doing it, our way of life is different from the American way of life. Islanders and how we were raised and the morals and codes of following the street codes. A lot of people don't do what you're supposed to do in general when it comes to gang banging. They just pretty much do shit and people accept it. And whether it's right or wrong, bro, and that shit don't make no sense. And then when they go in prison, when something happens on the street, you got to pay for like some bullshit you did. For example, if you probably did a drive-by or something, if you shot an innocent person on the street, you got to pay for that when you go into jail. But when you go in jail now, they might, oh man, he already apologized for his crime. He's serving his time. He did it already. He showed remorse. But I'd be so mad because these thug ass dudes will sit up in there and politic on what's right and what's wrong. And a lot of them, they just thugs in there trying to, play politicking on how things are done right and wrong. And then they pay favoritism. There's politics that's favor. Like you might have killed somebody, for example, that's from this guy had it coming. You might run into his cousin in there. He like, hell no, fuck that. Then you got conflict right there because of the gang banging. It's supposed to stop when you get to prison, especially when you, as an islander, when we go to prison, we become others. We join the others car. We're separate from like a lot of Crip gangs, blood gangs. They go join black cars, black Crip blood cars. They go there. Like with us, we're Crip, but we still islanders. So when we go to prison, we join the islanders. Like we're others. We're considered the others card. Pretty much like the mediator between a lot of other races. A lot of races in prison can't deal with each other. Like the whites won't deal with the blacks, or the Mexicans won't deal with the blacks. They'll use us. Like, oh man, I gotta get something from the black man. Let me go to the other. So they'll come to me and I might put we like three-way in there for a lot of things. So it's kind of like we're a neutral car. But when we go in prison, we have an understanding of where we come from as a people. But on the streets, we come over here and we get involved with the street and the politics, and everything just takes over from there. But I see how it is now and what it's turned to, and man, it got a lot worse than I can say. I mean, not as bad as it was before, but the rules and the codes that you used to see that people used to walk is not there anymore. And then you got a lot of youngsters who come out here now. You got social media. who influence these kids on gangbanging. So you might see, like I see somebody shooting in Chicago, you know, and then it's a crazy shooting, and a kid over here might be like, man, we could do that too. Like shit, you got beef, man, we could do that too. You know, now it's all competition. Like somebody gets shot. When I was in prison, this is a crazy example. When I was in prison, and High Desert was probably one of the worst prisons in California. So there's like 3 bad prisons in California. Level 4 GP. There's Salinas Valley, there's High Desert, and Pelican Bay. Kern Valley is there too, but I was in High Desert. Is one of the worst spots you can be at over there. But you run into the fuck ups of the fuck ups on that yard, you know. And then you have the main fuck up running all the fuck ups, you know. And then these dudes probably they don't care because that guy doesn't care. Islanders on the streets, a lot of LA Islanders who gangbang specifically are either Crip or Blood or SA or something else, but they affiliated. And then you usually go to prison and you go with your who you affiliated with. So in Cali, you got the Crips, in LA specifically, or South Central, you got the Crips, the Bloods, the Hoovers, you got the Bay Car, you got the Muslims, you got the non-affiliates. There's so many entities in the Black Car. And then you got the Crips. So when, for example, we Crip, but we Tongan. So we go in there, we run Tongan rather than running Crip. The Crips will say, you guys are supposed to be with us. But we'll be like, we Islanders, you know, at the end of the day. But a lot of us go to jail and then we understand where we stand. We Islanders, so we run together in there. It's not that many of us in there, you know. So you might run into a group of Islanders on the yard. It might be only like 10 of us. And everybody else, it might be 100 here, 100 here, 200. You feel me? It's like 500 people per building. There's 8 buildings on the yard. And it might only be like 30 or 40 others on the yard, you know. We'll mess around and have a riot with 200 people, you know, like 200 Mexicans or 100 blacks, you know. And those situations usually end fucked up for us. So they had like an open door policy as the other, where you might go to a prison and you might see other races running with us. You know, you might see a white dude, a black dude, you might see a Mexican or something else, and you will, like with me, I would question it, like, why is this dude running with us? You know, like this dude he's not even an Islander. Why is he here? You know, and they'll be like, well, due to because we short, they had an open door policy. So if you wanted to run with us, come on in. You know, with that being like that, it's not cool because other races would look at it and be like, them dudes accept anybody. Like, you know, why would they do that? But at the end of the day, everybody checks paperwork. And on that part right there, bro, checking paperwork is picking and choosing on that too, bro. I done been on yards with dudes that their paperwork was bad and they've been on prison yards for years. And I'm like, this dude runs the yard. Like he has a say. And then somebody else will come and find paperwork like, hey, this dude ain't no good. No good meaning this dude did some bullshit, you know. But certain prisons you get to, like this dude might have family there, you know. They might be like, oh man, that's the homie. They know. Nobody else would know. So there goes the favoritism, you know. Then you find out shit later on about it from other prisons. Now they looking at the whole yard like, oh, y'all harbored that. All you guys are at fault. You get it? They treat like one person, if he did some bullshit, he got to go. They treat it like cancer because they know it's going to spread, you know? But in the event of if you the somebody or a who's who, they're going to let you get away with things because I didn't see that shit happen before, you know? They do that shit a lot. They play favoritism like a motherfucker, bro.
Let's talk about your first arrest. You got arrested one time. Is that what you went to prison for? Or
That was my second time. I just got out for a robbery. Before that, I did like a county lid, and then I went back in for that right after. You know, like probably like 7, 8 months later, I went back in and I sat down for the whole 19. So I was pretty much gone my whole 20s to 30s, you know? Rather than picking up a bunch of baby crimes at a time, I ended up just doing one crazy thing and just had me sitting up in there for a whole damn 19 years, you know? It's not like I'm a career criminal, but I've never been to juvenile hall. You feel me? Like I never had run-ins with the laws and shit. It just seemed like as soon as I turned 18, it just started going, like I started getting caught, you know? Like a lot of stuff I was doing when I was 17 and younger, I didn't get caught for nothing. I was just out there doing stupid stuff. You know, then as soon as I got older, I started getting seen more, started doing more louder stuff, started getting more seen, recognized. Then I started getting ran up on and the police started hearing my name, you know? People started talking. I would get pulled over by the gang unit just driving. They'll pull up next to me and say my gang name. Like, hey, nutcase, man, pull over, nutcase. Like the cops over here, the detectives will get down with you like that. And if they didn't like you enough to the point where you were like rude to them or talk crazy to them, they'll drop you off in your enemy's hood. You're like, oh, you want to run your mouth, boy? I'll drop your ass off in your enemy hood, you know? But they do that to you. Like, a cop will take you to, in Long Beach, if you talk shit to the police, this was back in the day when I was growing up as a youngster, you would talk shit to the cop. The thing that a cop used to always hate that you would tell them, somebody always taught me this as a young gangbanger, you know, some stupid shit. Hey, call a cop a rookie. He's going to be mad, you know? And I always kept that in my head. So every time I ran into a cop, I called him, hey, man, you, like every time he did some, like he was trying to do some crazy shit, I'd be like, man, you a rookie. You don't know what you're doing. They would blow up. You motherfucker, I done did this and that. You got me fucked up. And then I'm gonna drop your ass off. And I'm like, damn, man, my bad. You ain't gotta do all that, you know? But they'll take you to like a blood hood, or in Long Beach, they'll take you to the SA neighborhood, you know? But the police play them little games too, you know? Even in prison, like when I first went to prison, like everything is jail is prison. Like LA County, if you can't make it there, you can't make it nowhere else. Like you gotta survive there before you can understand what survival is, being in jail. Like a lot of people in California who went through LA County, they understand the way it was back then. Cause even the cops was vicious, you know? And these are sheriffs. The sheriffs trained in the county county jail before they actually go to the streets and be an actual sheriff. This is where they train. So they go up in there and be punching dudes up, you know? And they're like, at that time, they were gangbanger cops, kind of. They had their own crew. They would go together and beat dudes up. Like, man, where you from? Are you from there? All right, man, come on. So, for example, back in 2005, when I first went to prison, there was a gang, SA gang. They were knocking down sheriffs. I think they killed 2 sheriffs. And when they went to the jail, when they went to LA County, those are pre-sheriffs. Like there was a new sheriff. You know, they hear about it. So when these dudes from this gang came in there, they was beating all them dudes up. I'm talking about they'll catch dudes, they put you in a cell with like 6 people, and then they'll run up in our cell. The cops will hit your cell, run up in there 6, 7 deep, and be like, everybody face the fuck down. And who's from Whoopty Whoop in here? Are you from there? And then somebody get up and like, yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, we got one. And they'll just beat the shit out of him. Like damn near beat him to death, you know? Just because he's from that hood. But they was doing the same thing back. If they couldn't catch you on the street, they'll catch you in there. And they just, I think all those sheriffs that was doing all that bullshit, they got sent to the feds or got fired or something. Because it was a big thing in the county where they was mistreating inmates and manipulating witnesses. Like the cops in there were like real gang members, man. Once upon a time, you know?
Yeah, so what you see in the movies with corrupted cops, that was real.
Bro, that's real as fuck. Like they used to have an Asian module in there. It was nothing but islanders. Remember I told you when we go to jail, they separate us. So we're called the others. So in the LA County jail, there ain't no others called. It used to be an Asian module. The Asian module was nothing but islanders and Asian. They kept us separate from everyone else. Based on the Mexicans had a green light on a certain Asian fractions that ran with us. They were green lighted, so basically they said they run with y'all, so all of y'all green lighted. You know what I'm saying? Like we not even from this hood, but we got to go in this Asian miles. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody from that gang, but being that we're all others, you know, green light all you guys. And like I told you, it's not that many of us. So it's easy to green light 10 people, you know, it's easy to green light 20 people, you know, but you can't do that when it's 300-400 type of people. It's different, you know, but in there, I didn't see the Koreans and the Asian module, they were like the rich ones in there. So they would be in there frying food on their bunks. Like I've never seen nobody fry food on their bunk, like scraping the metal off the bunk, taking the paint off and making grills out of the bunks, like burning the milk cartons. They putting like tissue in there, setting it on fire, burning. They're making grill like hibachi in jail. You know, this is county jail. We over here eating sack lunches and peanut butter, and the Koreans they got it hooked up. They got it because they had to connect in the county, so they was getting anything they wanted, you know. So they would have real food. We'll walk by and they'd be grilling food, they'd be drinking, smoking, anything you wanted in there, you could get it. Besides freedom, anything and bitches, you know. There was this one incident. This is a situation. I'm at a certain yard. There was a certain individual on the yard. It was one of my people. He was an islander. Now, this certain person was doing drugs, you know. He was doing drugs on the low. So, you know how drugs come up in there either through vision or you get yourself a plug and you got somebody working for you one way or the other. So this dude, he loved crystal, you know. So people being crystal, he'll buy it. His family took care of him. There's a lot of people in there that their families don't know they're using dope. They just send them money because they think they're taking care of them. And this dude using all his money to buy crystal, you know. So he in there snorting up. He's hallucinating. He's been up for like 3 weeks straight, you know. So he's like thinking people were plotting on him. And all the people he thought of plotting on getting him, he thought I was trying to get him, you know. So in his head, he was building that I was trying to get him. So he's in the cell making knives, you know. Like, man, I'm gonna get this dude, right? And I'm in another cell, I'm like 2 cells away. So I don't know none of this is going on. I'm the Mac rep. So I'm coming out and I'm checking on all the homies. As a Mac rep, it's your job to go check on your people when you come out to the they call it the building, but the day room. So I'll come out and check on the homies. I'll go check on him. I'm like, hey bro, you good? And he didn't say nothing. He's just looking at me like, I'm like, man, what's up with this dude? But I already know he high, you know. So I'm like, try to keep my distance. So, well, he left to medical. One day the cops came and escorted him out of there. Then they came and searched my cells, searched like 3 other people's cells, searched like 2 other people. So this dude, high on crystal meth, he went PC'd up and told on everybody that had a phone and had drugs. So they came, took my phone, took some other people for dope. Like he snitched on a gang of people and got them caught up. And then 2 weeks later, like usually when you snitch and you roll it up, the police take you to the hole. And then you go to the hole and they pen and send you to an SNY yard or send you somewhere else new, to another prison that people didn't even know that you rolled it up from. They call it roll it up when you leave a yard without just, you know, I don't want to be here no more. Or you high on crystal, you owe too much money, you rolling it up. So he rolled it up, went to the hole. 2 weeks later, this dude came back to the yard. You're supposed to not be here, right? You came back. This the games that the cops play. The cops know he ain't supposed to be here, but they didn't like him. So they brought him back. You know, they want something to happen to this dude now, you know? So they're like, I see him come back. We go to chow early in the morning. This guy left to the hole. That was about 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, he's not coming back. So 2 weeks, we go to yard. Somebody like, hey man, old boy is here. And I'm like, who? They tell me his name and I'm like, fuck he doing here, you know? He gotta go. That's my first thing. Dude gotta get up out of here. Favoritism. What I tell you? 4 other dudes come around. Oh man, I think he shit, it's good. We're gonna just discipline them in the house. Like we ain't gonna when they say discipline them in the house, they mean they gonna just beat them up in the cell where the cops don't see it, they don't get no write up, they just get away with it, you know? So we're gonna discipline them in the house. When people say that, they really ain't gonna do nothing to them. They gonna make them do push-ups or something like that in the cell to say that's the discipline, because certain fractions don't put hands on their people as a discipline. They might make them write letters or make them work out or run laps or something like that. But certain people, you're gonna get your ass whooped. Like with us, he needed to get his ass whooped because that was a big infraction. He needed it. He needed to die. You just told on a gang of people. Like you can't come back to the yard and then now you with us and then we cool. Now you make us all look bad, you know? So now we trying to politic on this dude leaving. I'm like, you gotta go, bro. Like I'm telling the fellas, now there's like a divide, you know? Like the homies are divided now. This is an Islanders car. It's just us. And it's because of this one individual. All we had to do was tell the Islanders to beat this dude up. Islanders and Asians runs together in the car. So the Asians and the Islanders are together, but when there's conflict within the car, the Asians kind of like back up, the Islanders back up. It was an Islander that was bullshit. So the Asians were like, he got to go. You know, they start politicking on us, and now the homies are looking at the Asians like, you got to go. Like, you got me fucked up. Like now it's conflict, but they're right, you know? But nobody wants to be wrong. So now we're over here plotting, like, we're plotting on the homie now. Like, damn, we got to when he goes out to chow, I'm finna catch him over here. You catch him over there. Like when he goes to dinner, get him over here. If he go get his package, like we were trying to sign him up for medical. Like, you know, you sign like people, this is like a common trick to get somebody to come out of the cell in prison. We'll sign you up for medical, and your dumb ass to come out thinking you going to medical. You don't even know you got set up. You know, you're like, damn, I ain't know I had a medical appointment today. Because people just be happy to come out the cell just to go somewhere, whether it's the store, just to come out the cell. A lot of people who don't have jobs, they just stuck in the cell, ain't going nowhere. So you put that dude who needed his ass whooped on we put him on medical slips. The first time he came out to medical, I think the Asians, they jumped him like probably like 11 or 12 homies, stabbed him up, jumped him up kind of bad, like did him real, real dirty, you know, because we didn't do it. So if you don't take care of your own people, like within the car, if an Asian dude fucked up, the Asians got to beat him up, right? If an Islander fuck up, the Islanders got to beat him up, you know? So when the Islanders didn't take initiative, the Asians beat the Islander dude up, caught him slipping going to medical, you know? I'm gonna talk about. You ever see somebody have a black face? You ever see a black eye? That motherfucker had a black face. They stomped the shit out of him, you know. So when that happened, like politics come in. So now we like, oh, the Asians. So this is where, oh, the Asians took off before we did it. Like, no, they didn't. You guys didn't. You guys didn't take care of business, so they hurry up and did it and got it up out the way, you know. So when the Asians did that, now we go to war with the Asians. Like, oh, you guys took off without letting us know. Now we got to take off on you guys. So after they took off on that dude, like the next day, I believe I went. It was a Thanksgiving. I went to visit. I went to go see my wife and my son. I told my wife like, "Hey man, I think I might be going to the hole." And she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "They just jumped the homie, you know." And she's like, "Who?" And I'm like, telling her what happened. And she's like, "Man, be careful with all that. Like, man, you ain't gotta be." And I'm like, "This is a place where you can't really just say, I'm not gonna do nothing. Like, you have to be involved. Like, either you either on the mission or you're the mission, you know." So I told her the situation. It was so serious that the sergeants came in to the visit and told me, "Hey man," because they knew I was a representative for my car. So they're like, "Hey man, something happened. Your boy got beat up." I'm already knowing. I'm like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know." Oh, they told me his last name. And I'm acting like I don't know. And I'm like, "Oh, for real? Oh, that's crazy, man. I'm gonna think about it when I get back. You know, damn, it's crazy. I'm in a visit right now. Why are you wasting my time?" But I was already. It was on my mind. Like it bothered me the whole time. I'm like, "Damn, I'm about to go to the hole." Like, fuck, man. I was with my son. I was trying to enjoy the visit, but my whole thing was I'm going back, and these dudes fuck around and get me because of that. Because now it's on, you know. So right when I got back. That following day, the breakfast for my visit, I told everybody, man, let's go to war, man. Fuck it. They didn't took off on a homie, man. We gotta go. We gotta do what they have to do, you know. So the very next day, it was like 5 cells of us, Islanders. It was me, my monkey, 2 other ones, like 6 of us, you know. So we walked to chow the very next day. I don't know if the severity of the situation got to certain people's minds. Like certain people in the yard thought that was cool. Like, oh, they did their thing. Like, now we ain't gotta do nothing. But then here I come, like, no, no, no. We gotta do something because they did something y'all didn't. So now we gotta basically you gotta clear each other out. Everybody got to cancel each other out. So we all got to crash each other. Everybody go to the hole, bring new homies on the yard. The yard will reset. That's kind of like how it works, you know? So we kind of crashed the yard. We took off on a couple of Asian dudes going to chow. Like we had an internal riot amongst our own self over this individual who was a fucking dope fiend that was PC'd up and came back. You feel me? It was all bullshit, but we went to war over that. I went to the shoe. I had a fight attempted murder for that. I went to the shoe. The shoe is segregated housing unit is where they send you like after the hole. Like when you get your time, like you go to the hole for a crime, and then they give you time. Like, okay, you're here for that. Bet now you got to do 2 more years for this, you know? So you got dudes back there for years off of some shit that happened on the yard, you know? So you run into like I went to a whole bullshit over that one individual, you know? And you know what's crazy? He's still walking the yard right now. And I think to myself, like, nobody knows, nobody cares. They don't, you know.